Scientists warn Gulf of Mexico seafloor is fractured beyond repair, and video confirms. Here's a little sneak preview of the video. Watch closely, you'll see fractures that are leaking, obviously, stuff. So a report on CNN on our report. There will be a link in the description. A dire report circulating in the Kremlin today that was prepared for Prime Minister Putin by Anthony Sagovich, and I'm probably mispronouncing that. We're just going to call him Anthony, of Russia's Shirshov Institute of Oceanology. Warns that the Gulf of Mexico seafloor has been fractured beyond all repair, and our world should begin preparing for an ecological disaster beyond comprehension unless extraordinary measures are undertaken to stop the massive flow of oil into our planet's 11th largest body of water. Most important to note about Anthony's warning is that he and his fellow scientists from the Russian Academy of Sciences are the only human beings to have actually been to the Gulf of Mexico oil leak site after they're being called to the disaster scene by British oil giant BP shortly after the April 22nd sinking of the Deepwater Horizon oil platform. BP's calling on Anthony after this catastrophe began is due to his being the holder of the world's record for the deepest freshwater dive and his expertise with Russia's two deep submergence vehicles, Mir 1 and Mir 2. There are photos of those vehicles as well, which are able to take their crews to the depth of 6,000 meters or 19,685 feet. According to Anthony's report, the oil leak into the Gulf of Mexico is not just coming from the 22-inch well bore site being shown to Americans on television, but from at least 18 other sites on the fractured seafloor, with the largest being nearly 11 kilometers or 7 miles from where the Deepwater Horizon sank and is spewing into these precious waters an estimated 2 million gallons of oil a day. My personal is 2.46 million, but anyway. Interesting to note in this report, Anthony stating that he and the other Russian scientists were required by the United States to sign documents forbidding them to report their findings to either the American public or media, and which they had to do in order to legally operate in U.S. territorial waters. However, Anthony says that he and the other scientists gave nearly hourly updates to both U.S. government and BP officials about what they were seeing on the sea floor, including the U.S. Senator from their state in Florida, Bill Nelson, who after one such briefing stated to MSNBC's news service, quote, and I quote, "Andrea, we're looking into something new right now, that there's reports of oil that's seeping up from the seabed, which would indicate, if that's true, that the well casing itself is actually pierced underneath the seabed. So, you know, the problems could be just enormous with what we're facing." Anyway, the article goes on. You get the gist of what's happening there.
Huge tsunami possibility.
This is,
mass diaspora of 200 million people possibility.
all I'm saying is the linguistics are coming to fruition that have been mentioned for several months now. And hey, look, man, you know, I know there's a lot of people that will either read into or not read into. I've seen several times that people have gone, "Oh my God, this is a hit! This is a hit," and I don't buy into that because of the fact that you know, I do a little homework to check out the facts behind it. There's very few times, honestly, that I've qualified anything that the Webbot's done as an actual hit. This entire shit that's going on in the Gulf right now is
It came came
It's
out
a-
with the exact words.
it's a hit.
Oil volcano.
Yeah, well, and now we've got fractured floor fissures. We've got that. The numbers are right.
We have the extreme possibility of diaspora.
Nevertheless, man,
I mean,
guys, keep your eyes open. Remain vigilant. If you live in the Gulf Coast, man, anywhere, anywhere, be ready to boogie quick.
and if you have family in the Gulf Coast,
Let them know.
prepare a room.
You know, and I'm not saying jump up and down and be scared and freak out. Don't go into panic mode. My rule of thumb is, if you have thought through the very worst case possibility that could take place ever with any situation, always think of the worst case scenario. If you imagine it now, it makes it much easier to deal with if it ever happens. So imagine, if you will, and take a few minutes and practice in your mind what you may have to do if you have to boogie out. You know, it doesn't take too long to think, okay, I'm going to need to grab a couple pillows if I have kids, and maybe some blankets. I'm going to need to have some water. I'm going to need to have a little bit of food. If we do have to leave, and a lot of us have to leave fast, we may be stuck in freaking traffic jams for a long time. Have some bare essentials to take care of yourself in a car for a while if you need to. Anyway, the report's there. I will say this: it is submitted on CNN's iReports. The names look very legitimate in the article. Research foundations, all that crap. I mean, you know, I when it comes from an iReport, who knows? But somebody apparently had to approve the damn thing. So take it for what it is, folks. But do your own homework. Anyway, peace. One love, for real though.